Australia's rugby pulse is beating stronger than ever, with the nation set to host the Rugby World Cup in 2027. The Wallabies are building momentum fueled by a new generation, hungry to add their chapter to a storied legacy. As fans flood back to the stands and new supporters discover the thrill of rugby, it's the legends of the past, the players who earned the most test caps in every position, who inspire today's stars. Their grit, skill and determination laid the foundation for this rising tide of talent and passion. In this video, we celebrate those iconic Wallabies, reminding us all how the heroes of yesterday ignite the fire that will drive Australia to glory on home soil. Let's dive in. Loosehead Prop. When you talk about reliable front rowers in Australian rugby, the name Ben Robinson demands respect. A rock at scrum time, Robinson was a cornerstone of the Wallabies pack for the better part of a decade, earning 72 test caps between 2006 and 2016. The most by any Wallaby loosehead prop. Nicknamed Fat Cat by teammates, Robinson was anything but sluggish on the field. At just under 180 centimetres and over 110 kilos, he packed power into a relatively compact frame, giving him a low centre of gravity, perfect for anchoring the left side of the scrum. And unlike some props of his era, he could get around the field too, often popping up with a timely carry or tackle. Robinson came into his prime during the Robbie Deans era and was pivotal during Australia's run to the 2011 Rugby World Cup semi-finals. He also featured prominently in Tri-Nations and early Rugby Championship campaigns, consistently holding his own against the best from New Zealand and South Africa. In a role built on grit, graft and technique, Ben Robinson was as dependable as they come. A proper loosehead in every sense of the word. Hooker. If there's one word that defines Stephen Moore, it's longevity. With 129 test caps between 2005 and 2017, Moore is not only the most capped Australian hooker of all time, he's the second most capped Wallaby ever, behind only George Gregan. Born in Saudi Arabia to Irish parents, Moore moved to Australia as a child and would go on to become a fixture in gold. He was a classic set-piece hooker, accurate at the line-out, technically sound in the scrum, and relentless around the park. But what made Moore special wasn't just his consistency, it was his resilience. He featured in 3 Rugby World Cups, including the 2015 final against New Zealand where he captained the side. He led by example with a no-nonsense attitude and a work rate that rarely dipped below top gear. Off the field, he was respected for his intellect and professionalism, a man players turned to when the pressure mounted. In a position that demands toughness, leadership and precision, Stephen Moore delivered all 3 in spades and left behind a legacy every young front rower can look up to. Tighthead Prop. In the engine room of any rugby team, the tighthead prop wears the bruises and rarely gets the glory. But Sekope Kepu earned his place in Wallabies history through sheer durability, consistency and technical excellence. With 110 test caps between 2008 and 2019, Kepu is Australia's most capped tighthead prop and one of only a handful of front rowers globally to break the 100 cap barrier. Born in Sydney and raised in New Zealand, Kepu came through the ranks with a rare mix of raw power and mobility. While many tightheads are known for scrummaging alone, Kepu was a modern prop, comfortable with ball in hand, strong in defence, and often popping up with line breaks that caught opponents off guard. He featured in 3 Rugby World Cups, including the 2015 tournament, where Australia reached the final, and he anchored the scrum against some of the world's best. His discipline at the set piece, especially under pressure, gave the Wallabies a reliable foundation during a turbulent era. In a role that demands strength, resilience and subtlety, Sekope Kepu quietly became one of Australia's greatest ever tightheads, and he did it with minimal fuss and maximum impact. Lock. In the world of second rowers, it's not always the flashiest who last. It's the ones who do the unseen work, week in and week out. Rob Simmons was exactly that. Across 100 test caps for the Wallabies between 2010 and 2020, Simmons quietly became one of Australia's most dependable locks, wearing the number 4 jersey more than any other. Standing at 2.01 metres, Simmons was a line-out technician, often the go-to target when the Wallabies needed clean ball under pressure. He wasn't the enforcer type, but his strength lay in his intelligence. He read the game well, moved efficiently, and rarely made unforced errors. Simmons debuted against South Africa in 2010 and quickly cemented his place through 2 World Cup campaigns, including the 2015 run to the final, where he scored a vital early try in the semi-final against Argentina. His work rate in defence and set-piece consistency made him a coach's dream. In an era where physicality often overshadowed craft, Rob Simmons proved there's still immense value in the basics done right. Every ruck hit, every lift timed, every call nailed. Lock. If there was ever a Wallaby who embodied consistency, leadership and sheer endurance, it was Nathan Sharp. With 116 test caps from 2002 to 2012, he was a mainstay in the Australian second row for over a decade and one of the most respected forwards of his generation. Standing at 200 centimetres and tipping the scales at 115 kilograms, Sharp was a classic line-out general, but his influence went far beyond the set piece. He had a tireless motor, was always first to clean out a ruck, and never shied away from the dirty work. Off the field, he was equally respected, a natural leader who captained the Wallabies during a transitional period in the early 2000s. Sharp featured in 3 Rugby World Cups and was part of the 2002 Tri-Nations and 2011 Rugby World Cup semi-final squad. Remarkably, he was named John Eales Medalist, Australia's top individual rugby honour, not once but twice, including in his final year of Test rugby. In many ways, Nathan Sharp was the lock every team wishes they had, reliable, durable and utterly selfless in his contribution to the gold jersey. Blindside Flanker. Few Wallabies in the professional era combined brute strength and athleticism quite like Rocky Elsom. With 75 test caps between 2005 and 2011, Elsom redefined what it meant to wear the number 6 jersey for Australia. He was more than just a bruising back rower. He was a game changer who led by example. Elsom's physicality was undeniable. At 196 centimetres and nearly 110 kilograms, he brought raw power to every tackle and ruck. But it was his explosiveness with ball in hand that made him stand out, regularly punching holes through defences and providing go-forward momentum when it was most needed. After a stint in Europe, he returned to Australia and was made Wallabies captain in 2009, a role he held through to the 2011 Rugby World Cup. His leadership was steady and his performances remained relentless, especially in big matches where his ability to dominate collisions and lead defensive lines came to the fore. Rocky Elsom didn't just play blindside flanker, he owned it during his era. Fierce, uncompromising and deceptively skillful, he remains one of the most influential Wallaby forwards of the modern age. Openside Flanker. In a position known for toughness, agility and pure nuisance value, George Smith was the gold standard. Across a remarkable career that spanned 111 test caps between 2000 and 2013, Smith became one of the most respected and feared Openside flankers in world rugby, and a true Wallaby great. He debuted as a 20-year-old with dreadlocks and a fearless approach to the breakdown. Within months, he was outplaying seasoned internationals and making a name for himself as a turnover machine. His breakdown skills were world-class, but he was also a brilliant link player with sharp handling, excellent support lines, and deceptive pace. Smith featured in 4 Rugby World Cups, played under 5 head coaches, and somehow returned to Test rugby in 2013, 4 years after initially retiring, and still looked like he hadn't missed a beat. That return match? A British and Irish Lions decider. And yes, he was one of the Wallabies' best on the day. In a jersey worn by many proud Australians, George Smith set the bar sky high. A once-in-a-generation flanker who combined work rate, rugby intelligence and humility in equal measure. Number 8. When you think of uncompromising number 8s in Wallaby history, few embodied the role quite like Tutai Kefu. Amassing 60 test caps between 1997 and 2003, Kefu was a cornerstone of the Australian forward pack during one of its most successful eras, playing a pivotal role in the Wallabies' golden period. At 189 centimetres and over 110 kilograms, Kefu brought a blend of brute strength and surprising agility. Renowned for his powerful ball carrying and ability to make hard yards in traffic, he was a constant menace to opposition defences. But it wasn't just his physicality that stood out. Kefu had a sharp rugby brain and outstanding support play, often popping up in the right place at the right time. His most iconic moment came in 2001 against the All Blacks in Sydney when he scored a dramatic last-minute try to win the Bledisloe Cup, a moment etched into Wallaby folklore. Kefu was also a key figure in Australia's 1999 Rugby World Cup triumph and their 2001 Tri-Nations victory. Tutai Kefu wasn't flashy, but he was brutally effective, a player whose consistency, work rate and impact helped define a golden generation of Australian rugby. Scrum-half. There are Wallabies, and then there are Wallaby legends. George Gregan sits firmly in the latter. With a staggering 139 test caps between 1994 and 2007, he remains the most capped Australian player of all time and one of the most enduring scrum halves in rugby history. Gregan made his debut against Italy in 1994, but his name truly burst into global consciousness later that year when he pulled off that famous try-saving tackle on All Blacks winger Jeff Wilson. From then on, he never looked back, becoming the heartbeat of the Wallabies for over a decade. Tactically sharp and lightning quick with his delivery, Gregan wasn't flashy. He was clinical, composed and endlessly competitive. His trademark pass set the tempo, his box kicks kept defences honest, and his leadership, particularly as captain from 2001 to 2006, guided Australia through some of its most successful years, including the 1999 Rugby World Cup victory. For over a decade, George Gregan was the general, a man of few words but of decisive actions. He defined what it meant to wear the number 9 jersey in Australian rugby, fly half. If George Gregan was the general, Stephen Larkham was the artist, a fly half who redefined the position for a generation of Wallabies fans. With 102 test caps between 1996 and 2007, Larkham became the creative heart of Australia's golden era. Calm under pressure, elusive in space, and blessed with a vision that few could match. What's remarkable is that Larkham didn't even start his test career at fly half. He debuted at fullback, only shifting to number 10 under coach Rod McQueen. It was a masterstroke. Larkham brought a running threat rarely seen in a first 5/8. His ability to glide through defences was almost ghost-like. The defining moment? His extra-time drop goal in the 1999 World Cup semi-final against South Africa with a dodgy knee and famously barely able to see the posts. That kick helped pave the way for Australia's second World Cup triumph. Larkham wasn't flashy, but he was clinical, courageous and utterly composed. A player who could orchestrate a match with quiet authority and who left an indelible mark on the Wallaby jersey. Left wing? David Campese is nothing short of an Australian rugby legend, with 101 test caps from 1982 to 1996, making him the most capped Wallaby on the left wing. Known for his unpredictable style and extraordinary skill set, Campese redefined what it meant to play wing for Australia. Campese wasn't just a winger who ran fast and scored tries, he brought an inventive edge to the position, blending lightning speed with a daring attacking flair that kept defenders guessing. His signature move, the goose step, became iconic, often leaving opponents flat-footed. His career highlights include the 1991 Rugby World Cup victory, where his creativity and try-scoring prowess were pivotal. Over his career, Campese scored 64 tries, a record for Australia that stood for decades. Campese's combination of skill, audacity and longevity makes him a true rugby trailblazer. His impact went beyond statistics. He brought excitement and innovation to the Wallabies' backline and left a lasting legacy on Australian rugby. Inside centre. When talking about Australian centres, the name Tim Horan is impossible to overlook. With 80 test caps from 1989 to 2000, Horan was the consummate inside centre, a blend of physicality, skill and rugby intellect that shaped an era of Wallabies dominance. Horan was more than just a powerful runner, he was a smart playmaker who could unlock defences with both his vision and his footwork. His defensive skills were equally impressive, often shutting down some of the world's most dangerous attackers. He played a key role in the Wallabies' 1991 and 1999 Rugby World Cup victories, cementing his place in Australian rugby folklore. His ability to read the game allowed him to create opportunities for teammates while also being a solid pillar in defence. Tim Horan's career was defined by consistency and leadership, qualities that earned him the respect of teammates and opponents alike. A Wallaby through and through, Horan remains one of the greatest centres the game has ever seen. Outside centre. If there's one player who brought flair, creativity and sheer class to the Wallabies midfield, it's Matt Giteau. Earning 103 test caps between 2002 and 2017, Giteau was a versatile and dynamic presence, but it was at outside centre where he truly flourished. Giteau combined skillful running lines with an eye for the spectacular. His ability to break tackles and offload under pressure made him a nightmare for defenders. But beyond the flash, he was also a smart decision maker, often setting up teammates with perfectly weighted passes or tactical kicks. Despite his undeniable talent, Giteau's international career had its ups and downs, including missing out on the 2011 World Cup due to playing overseas, but his commitment and performances when on the field were rarely questioned. Known for his football IQ and leadership qualities, Giteau captained the Wallabies and was instrumental in some memorable victories. Simply put, he was the kind of player who could change the course of a game in a heartbeat. Right wing. Few Wallabies have been as versatile and reliable as Adam Ashley Cooper, but it's on the right wing where he racked up the majority of his 121 test caps between 2005 and 2017. His longevity and adaptability made him an invaluable asset to the Australian backline. Ashley Cooper combined pace with a sturdy build, making him a difficult opponent one-on-one. But what truly set him apart was his rugby intelligence and work ethic. He wasn't just a finisher, he was often involved in the build-up play, defensively solid and exceptional under the high ball. Throughout his career, he played multiple positions in the backline, but it was on the wing that he truly shone, consistently bringing energy and experience to the Wallabies' attack. He featured in 3 Rugby World Cups, providing crucial tries and steady performances. Adam Ashley Cooper's career is a testament to dedication, consistency and versatility, qualities that any team would prize in a wing. Fullback. Matt Burke stands tall as one of Australia's most dependable and skilled fullbacks, earning 81 test caps from 1993 to 2004. His tenure at number 15 was marked by consistency, versatility, and a strong kicking game that made him a crucial asset for the Wallabies. Burke combined a powerful boot with excellent positional awareness, which allowed him to control territory and relieve pressure under the high ball. His defensive reliability and calm under pressure made him a safe pair of hands at the back, while his attacking instincts meant he was always ready to counter-attack. During his career, Burke played a vital role in some memorable Wallabies victories and was a key figure in the team's success throughout the 1990s and early 2000s. His ability to slot penalties and conversions with precision added an extra edge to Australia's scoring arsenal. Matt Burke's career remains a benchmark for aspiring Wallaby fullbacks, exemplifying a blend of skill, resilience, and rugby intelligence. Head coach. Bob Dwyer is a towering figure in Australian rugby history, holding the record as the Wallabies' most capped head coach with 53 test matches between 1982 and 1995. His leadership not only spanned over a decade but also transformed the Wallabies into a true rugby powerhouse. Dwyer's crowning achievement came in 1991 when he masterminded Australia's first Rugby World Cup triumph. Under his guidance, the Wallabies combined tactical discipline with flair, navigating a challenging tournament that culminated in a historic final win over England. Known for his sharp rugby mind and ability to inspire, Dwyer emphasised a fast, expansive style of play that set the template for Australian rugby in the years that followed. His coaching tenure also included the 1987 World Cup final and laid the foundations for future Wallabies success. Bob Dwyer's influence extended beyond tactics. He instilled a culture of resilience and confidence that helped define the Wallabies' identity. Simply put, his legacy is etched deeply into Australian rugby's proudest moments. And there you have it, the most capped Wallabies in every position, legends who shaped the game and set the standard for generations to come. As we look ahead to a home World Cup in 2027, their legacy is more important than ever. These are the players who showed what it means to wear the jersey with pride, and they continue to inspire the stars of today. If you enjoyed this trip through Wallaby history, hit like, subscribe to Rugby Decoded, and share your favourite Wallabies moment in the comments. Let's grow the game together and get behind the green and gold as we build towards something special in 2027.